Hello, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something powerful. We will talk about how to become addicted to English. Yes, addicted in a good way. When you are addicted to something, you do it every day without force. You enjoy it. You think about it. You feel excited about it. And that is exactly what we want with English. Chapter 1. Learning English can feel hard in the beginning. Many people start with motivation, but after some days they stop. Why? Because they are not emotionally connected. They are not enjoying the process. So today, I will show you how to fall in love with English so deeply that it becomes a natural part of your life. First, let me tell you a simple story. When I started learning English, I was not serious. I studied sometimes, then I stopped. I forgot words. I felt bored. But one day, something changed. I watched a short English video that I really liked. It was simple, but it made me smile. I watched it again and again. Without realizing it, I started understanding more. That was the moment when English became interesting for me. Interest is the first step to addiction. If you enjoy something, you will come back to it again and again. So don't force yourself to learn boring things. Start with what you like. If you like movies, watch movies in English. If you like music, listen to English songs. If you like stories, read simple English stories. Make English fun. Now let's talk about daily exposure. If you want to be addicted to English, you need to see it every day, even if it is just for a few minutes. Consistency is more important than long hours. You don't need to study for 5 hours. Just spend 30 minutes daily, but do it every single day. I remember when I decided to take English seriously. I made a small rule for myself. I said I will not miss a single day. Some days I was busy. Some days I was tired. But I still did something. I listened to a short audio. I read a few lines. I spoke a few sentences. Slowly, it became a habit. And that habit became an addiction. Another powerful tip is to make English part of your daily life. Don't treat it like a subject. Treat it like a lifestyle. Use English when you think. Use English when you talk to yourself. Describe what you are doing. For example, say, I am eating food, or I am going outside. This may feel strange at first, but it works. I used to talk to myself in English a lot. When I woke up, I said, "Good morning." When I walked, I described things around me. At first, I made many mistakes. But slowly, my mind started thinking in English automatically. That is when I realized I was getting addicted. Now let's talk about repetition. Addiction comes from repetition. When you do something again and again, your brain gets used to it. So don't be afraid to repeat. Watch the same video many times. Listen to the same audio again. Read the same story again. Every time you repeat, you understand more. I remember watching one short video almost 10 times. The first time I understood very little. The second time, a bit more. By the 5th time, I understood most of it. And by the 10th time, I could even repeat some sentences. That feeling was amazing. It made me want to learn more. Another important thing is emotional connection. If you feel something while learning, you will remember it better. So choose content that makes you feel happy, excited, or curious. When you enjoy the process, learning becomes natural. For example, I once watched a funny English clip. I laughed so much, but I also learned new words. Because I connected those words with emotions, I never forgot them. So always try to learn with feeling, not just with logic. Now let's talk about small wins. When you are addicted to something, you enjoy progress. So celebrate small achievements. Did you learn 5 new words? That's great. Did you understand a sentence without translation? That's amazing. These small wins keep you motivated. I used to feel very happy when I understood even one full sentence. It gave me confidence. It made me feel like I was improving. And that feeling pushed me to continue. Another powerful method is to surround yourself with English. Change your phone language to English. Follow English pages. Watch English content. The more you see English, the more normal it becomes. I changed my phone language to English, and at first it was confusing. But after some days, I got used to it. I started learning new words without even trying. That is the power of environment. Also, don't be afraid of mistakes. When you are addicted, you don't care about being perfect. You just enjoy the process. So speak, even if it is broken. Write, even if it has errors. Every mistake is a step forward. I made hundreds of mistakes. Sometimes I felt embarrassed, but I did not stop. Because I was enjoying learning, mistakes did not matter anymore. They became part of my journey. Lastly, remember this. You don't need motivation every day. You need a system. When English becomes part of your daily routine, you don't think about it. You just do it. That is true addiction. So start small, stay consistent, enjoy the process, and slowly you will see that English is no longer something you have to learn. It becomes something you love to do. Now tell me, are you ready to become addicted to English? Chapter 2. Let me start with a simple truth. What you do every day becomes who you are. If you practice English daily, even for a short time, you will slowly become someone who speaks English. But if you only practice sometimes, you will always feel stuck. I remember a time when I was very inconsistent. Some days I studied a lot, and some days I did nothing. Because of this, I did not see real progress. I felt frustrated. But then I understood something very important. Small daily actions are more powerful than big actions once in a while. So I changed my approach. I stopped trying to do too much. Instead, I focused on doing something every day, even if it was just 10 minutes. And that simple change made a huge difference. Now let's talk about building a daily routine. A routine helps you stay consistent without thinking too much. When something becomes part of your routine, you do it automatically. Like brushing your teeth. You don't think about it. You just do it. You can create a simple English routine. For example, in the morning, listen to a short English audio. In the afternoon, read something small. At night, speak or write a few sentences. This does not take much time, but it builds a strong habit. I followed a simple routine like this. Every morning I listened to English while getting ready. In the evening I watched a short video. At night I wrote a few lines in my notebook. It was simple, but it worked. Another important idea is to make learning easy. If something feels too hard, your brain will avoid it. But if it feels easy, your brain will accept it. So always start small. For example, don't try to read a difficult book in the beginning. Start with simple sentences. Don't try to speak perfectly. Just say a few words. Make it easy, and you will stay consistent. I remember when I tried to learn difficult words in the beginning. I felt tired and confused. Then I changed my method. I started learning simple, useful words, words that I could use in daily life, and suddenly, everything became easier. Now let's talk about triggers. A trigger is something that reminds you to do a habit. For example, After you wake up, you drink water. That is a habit connected to a trigger. You can use triggers for English. For example, after breakfast, you listen to English. After using your phone, you read one sentence. Before sleeping, you speak for 2 minutes. These small triggers help you stay on track. I used my phone as a trigger. Every time I picked up my phone, I opened something in English, a video, a message, or a short post. Slowly, my brain connected phone use with English learning, and this made practice automatic. Another powerful tip is to remove distractions. When you sit to learn English, focus only on that. Don't check your phone again and again. Don't think about other things. Even 10 minutes of focused learning is very powerful. There were times when I sat to study, but I kept checking my phone. I was not focused, so I decided to keep my phone away for some time. That simple change improved my learning a lot. Now let's talk about tracking your progress. When you see your progress, you feel motivated. So keep a record. It can be very simple. Just mark a tick for every day you practice. I had a small calendar. Every day I practiced, I marked it. When I saw many marks in a row, I felt proud. I did not want to break that chain. This helped me stay consistent. Another helpful method is to reward yourself. When you complete your daily practice, give yourself a small reward. It can be something simple like watching your favorite video or eating something you like. Rewards make habits enjoyable. I used to reward myself after completing my practice. It made me feel good. It made me look forward to learning, and slowly, English became something I enjoyed, not something I forced myself to do. Now let's talk about identity. This is very important. Instead of saying, I am learning English, start saying, I am an English learner. Or even better, I am someone who uses English every day. This small change in thinking is powerful. When I changed my mindset, everything changed. I stopped thinking like a beginner. I started thinking like someone who uses English daily, and my actions followed that identity. Also, be patient with yourself. Habits take time to build. Some days you will feel lazy. Some days you will miss your routine. That is okay. Don't stop completely. Just start again the next day. I had many days when I did not feel like studying, but I told myself, just do a little. And once I started, I often did more than I planned. Starting is always the hardest part. Another tip is to keep your learning environment ready. Keep your books, notes, or apps easily available. If everything is ready, you will not waste time, and it will be easier to start. I kept my notebook on my table. Every time I saw it, it reminded me to write something. This simple setup helped me stay consistent. Finally, remember this. Addiction is not created in one day. It is built step by step. Every small action you take is building your habit. And one day you will realize that English has become a natural part of your life. So stay consistent, keep it simple, enjoy the process, and trust yourself. Now tell me, are you ready to go deeper? Chapter 3. Let me start with a simple idea. People don't get addicted to things that feel like work. They get addicted to things that feel fun, easy, and rewarding. So if English feels boring or stressful, your mind will always try to escape from it. But if English feels fun, your mind will run towards it. I remember a time when English felt like a burden to me. I opened a book, and after a few minutes, I felt tired. I checked my phone. I got distracted. I stopped learning. But then I changed one thing. I stopped learning English like a subject, and I started experiencing English like entertainment. This changed everything. Instead of reading difficult books, I started watching simple and interesting videos. Instead of memorizing long word lists, I started learning words from stories. Instead of forcing myself to speak perfectly, I started speaking for fun. And slowly, English became something I looked forward to every day. Now let's talk about immersion. Immersion means surrounding yourself with English in a natural way. It means making English a part of your life, not just a study session. For example, you can watch English videos while eating. You can listen to English audio while walking. You can read small posts while using your phone. These small moments add up. I used to listen to English while doing simple tasks. Sometimes I did not understand everything, but that was okay. My brain was getting used to the sound, the rhythm, and the flow of English. Over time, understanding came naturally. Another powerful tip is to follow your curiosity. Don't learn what you think you should learn. Learn what you want to learn. If you are interested in something, your brain will pay more attention. For example, if you like technology, watch videos about technology in English. If you like sports, follow sports content in English. If you like stories, listen to stories. When you follow your interests, learning becomes effortless. I remember I was very curious about how people speak in movies. So I started watching short scenes again and again. I copied the way they spoke. I repeated their sentences. It was fun, and it helped me improve my speaking without feeling like I was studying. Now, let's talk about imitation. This is a very powerful technique. When you hear someone speaking English, try to copy them. Copy their tone, their speed, and their pronunciation. This is called shadowing. At first, it may feel strange, but it works very well. I used to pause videos and repeat sentences. Sometimes I repeated the same sentence 5 or 10 times. Slowly, my pronunciation improved, my confidence grew, and speaking became easier. Another important idea is to remove pressure. Many learners feel pressure to be perfect. They think, I must speak correctly, or I must not make mistakes. This pressure makes learning stressful. But remember this, you are learning, not performing. It's okay to be imperfect. When I removed the pressure, I felt free. I started speaking more. I laughed at my mistakes, and that freedom made me improve faster. Now let's talk about creating emotional moments. When you connect English with emotions, you remember it better. For example, watch something that makes you laugh, cry, or feel excited. When you feel something, your brain becomes more active. It remembers words and sentences more easily. I once watched an emotional story in English. I did not understand every word, but I felt the story. And because of that feeling, I remembered many sentences from it. Another helpful tip is to mix learning with fun activities. For example, play games in English, write funny sentences, create small stories. Talk to yourself in a creative way. I used to create funny stories using simple words. Sometimes they did not make sense, but they made me laugh. And that made learning enjoyable. Now let's talk about progress without pressure. Don't try to measure everything. Sometimes just enjoy the process. Trust that you are improving. There were days when I felt like I was not learning anything, but after some time, I realized I could understand more. I could speak more easily. Progress was happening, even when I did not notice it. Another important thing is to stay relaxed. When you are relaxed, your brain learns better. When you are stressed, your brain blocks learning. So take a deep breath. Slow down. Enjoy the moment. Learning English is not a race. I learned better when I was calm. When I stopped worrying about speed, I started improving faster. It may sound strange, but it is true. Also, don't compare yourself with others. Everyone has a different journey. Some people learn fast. Some people learn slowly. But what matters is that you keep moving. I used to compare myself with others, and it made me feel bad. But when I focused on my own journey, I felt more confident, and that confidence helped me grow. Finally, remember this. Addiction to English comes from enjoyment, curiosity, and consistency. When you enjoy learning, when you stay curious, and when you practice daily, English becomes part of who you are. So don't force it. Feel it. Live it. Enjoy it. Now tell me, are you ready for the final chapter? Chapter 4. Let me start with something very important. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. Some days you will feel excited to learn English. Other days, you will feel lazy. This is normal. The difference between success and failure is not motivation. It is consistency. I remember many days when I did not feel like learning. I felt tired. I felt bored. But I had built a habit. So I told myself, just do a little. And once I started, I often continued for longer. The hardest part is always starting. So make a simple rule. Never skip completely. Even if you are busy, even if you are tired, just do something small. Listen for 5 minutes. Speak for 2 minutes. Read 1 paragraph. Small actions keep your habit alive. Now let's talk about long-term thinking. Many people want fast results. They want to speak fluently in a few weeks. But real learning takes time. Think of English as a long journey, not a short race. When I stopped chasing quick results, I felt more relaxed. I focused on daily progress instead of big outcomes. And slowly, I improved without stress. Another important thing is to refresh your learning. If you do the same thing every day, you may feel bored. So, try new things. Watch new types of videos. Read different topics. Try new methods. I remember when I felt bored with my routine, so I changed it. I started watching interviews instead of stories. I listened to podcasts instead of songs. That change made learning exciting again. Now let's talk about challenges. Challenges make learning interesting. You can challenge yourself in small ways. For example, speak only in English for 10 minutes. Learn 10 new words in a day. Watch a video without subtitles. I used to give myself small challenges. Sometimes I failed, but that was okay. The goal was not perfection. The goal was growth. These challenges pushed me forward. Another powerful tip is to teach others. When you teach something, you understand it better. If you have a friend who is learning English, help them. Share what you know. I once explained simple English sentences to a friend. While teaching, I realized I understood those sentences more clearly. Teaching made my learning stronger. Now let's talk about confidence. Confidence is very important. If you believe you can improve, you will take action. If you doubt yourself, you will stop. So always remind yourself, I am improving every day. Even if progress feels slow, trust the process. I used to feel nervous when speaking English, but I kept practicing. Slowly, my confidence grew. And one day, I realized I was speaking without fear. Another important idea is to create a vision. Ask yourself, why do I want to learn English? Maybe you want a better job. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to communicate with the world. Keep that reason in your mind. It will give you strength when you feel weak. My reason was simple. I wanted to express myself. I wanted to understand the world better. That reason kept me going even on difficult days. Now let's talk about balance. Don't make learning too heavy. It should not feel like a burden. Balance learning with rest and fun. There were times when I tried to learn too much. I felt tired and frustrated. Then I learned to take breaks. I relaxed. And then I came back stronger. Also, celebrate your journey. Look back and see how far you have come. Maybe you can understand more now. Maybe you can speak better. These are big achievements. I sometimes read my old notes. I saw my mistakes. I saw my improvement. It made me feel proud. It reminded me that I was growing. Another tip is to stay connected with English. Even if you become good, don't stop. Keep using the language. Watch, listen, speak, and read regularly. Language is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it becomes weak. But if you use it daily, it becomes stronger. I made English a part of my life. Even after improving, I continued practicing. That is why I did not lose my progress. Finally, remember this. Becoming addicted to English is not about forcing yourself. It is about creating a life where English is everywhere. It is about enjoying the process, staying consistent, and believing in yourself. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. So start today. Take one small step, then another, and another. One day you will look back and realize that English is no longer something you struggle with. It is something you live with. Now it's your turn. Make English your habit. Make it your passion. Make it your lifestyle. And always remember, you can do it.